So with Crawl coming out tomorrow, I thought it would be fun to tackle some killer croc movies, killer alligator movies. Unfortunately, I won't be able to do the movie Alligator or its sequel Alligator 2 The Mutation because I can't find a proper copy. I actually do own Alligator 2 The Mutation on VHS, but that is up in storage. And Alligator 1, I wouldn't do Alligator 2 without doing 1. And the YouTube rips are unwatchable, and there's no other way to get it. So, oops. And I'm not torrenting it. So, yeah, that's a bummer. But, all right. So, let's talk about the ones I can watch. And starting with one I own. Now, Daniel White and me, a buddy of mine, we always talk about the comparisons between Rogue and Jaws and Blackwater and The Reef. And the way we talk about that is that of the top tier shark and croc movies, you have Jaws, which is the fun, adventurous movie, which is like Rogue of the croc movies. And then you've got The Reef, which is just tense, serious shit the whole time. And then Blackwater, which is the same. So I feel like those are comparative of the top tiers of their subgenres. Because I consider The Reef to be the second best shark movie. And I do think there's a lot of good shark movies, and we're going to be doing Shark Week here in about 2 weeks, right? 2 weeks is Shark Week. I'm going to do a whole week of nothing but shark movies. So look forward to that. But I also just found out that Blackwater and The Reef were directed by the same guy. Makes sense. So we'll talk about that because I've already watched Rogue, Blackwater, and Primeval, and I'm going to be knocking them all out here right in a row. So you're going to be getting all three of these dropped pretty much the exact same time because I'm a maniac. And I don't even know what I'm going to watch next, but we'll see. All right, so Rogue, which I do own. I own Blackwater as well, but I left them upstairs like I always do. I just want to bring the thing out and show it like, look, I own it. But yeah, so now, this movie is directed by Greg McLean, who is known for his Wolf Creek movies. And the first Wolf Creek, I'm whatever about. I would like to cover the series, do 1, 2 in the television series. I'm waiting for a second season of that to be available. Maybe it is at this point, but for a while I couldn't find the second season, and I didn't want to do it unless I could do the complete run through of all the episodes. I think there's 12, 6 per season, 2 seasons. But Greg McLean, he started really strong. So he had Wolf Creek, which a lot of people loved. I was mediocre on it. I was like, oh, that was okay, I guess. I didn't really care for it all that much. I think it was the true story thing threw me because I was like, but everyone dies. Spoilers, I guess. I'm like, then the story is you just made it up. Like you've no idea what happened. It reminds me of Open Water. They're like, oh, here's based on true events, and it's like you lost someone out in the water. And then that's it. That's all you know. Their bodies were never discovered again. So maybe sharks got them. Maybe they're still on an island somewhere. Maybe a fucking cruise ship picked them up and they were like, fuck this life. We're going to just go travel the world and have fun and throw our old lives away. You don't know what the hell happened. So the Wolf Creek thing, when I found out, I was like, you got to be kidding me. But the movie itself, I was like, nah, And then I saw the second one, and it blew me away. I was just like, holy shit, that opening sequence with the cop and the head explosion and all that, and how mean-spirited John Jarrett's villain is in that movie. I can't remember what his name is in the movie now. It's been a while since I watched it, but holy shit, man, that is a brutal movie. Absolutely no holds barred, brutality, gore, vicious gore, vicious ass killer. Holy shit, he like gets off on mutilating and torturing people. So that one is not for the faint of heart. And I was all excited about his career from there. And then he made The Darkness, which was terrible. And I was like, oh no. But I was like, it was PG-13, it was a studio movie, and I was like, uh-oh, he's not getting that. Then he made The Belko Experiment, and I was like, okay, like, that was fun. I think it could have been way better. I think it could have been, like, levels of gore and brutality of Wolf Creek 2 thrown into The Belko Experiment, and that would have elevated the movie exponentially for me, because The Belko Experiment was way too light for me. Just way too light. So I look forward to what McLean does in the future. I hope that he can return to like Wolf Creek greatness. But for now, he's kind of wishy-washy for me. But Rogue is awesome. I mean, not as great as I remember it, to be honest. Like, I watched this many years ago, and I was like, oh man, Daniel and I have been talking about this movie for a while and how great it is. And I watched it this time, and I was like, yeah, it was really good. I didn't absolutely adore it. It was not like a 10 out of 10 or anything crazy like that for me, like Jaws is. But I did like it. We'll get into maybe my gripes or whatnot here. But all right, so we got like okay, what the movie is about. If you don't know, I'm going to be getting into spoilers, as you know. But there is a journalist. He's sent to Australia to write about traveling there, and so he takes a Croc tour that is ran by Radha Mitchell, which Radha Mitchell is an actress that I feel like kind of peaked around the moderate success level. Like, she did Silent Hill and she did Pitch Black and she did these like moderately successful movies, and she just kind of plateaued there and had just kind of stayed there. But I really like her. I dig her, and I dig her in this. We've also got Sam Worthington here, who went on to do the wildly successful, starred in the highest grossing film of all time as it stands right this second. We'll see if Avengers Endgame can beat it with their last little push here. But yeah, I mean, he was the star of Avatar, and he was the star of Terminator Salvation, and he did a whole slew of other movies as well. And now he's kind of dropped off the face of the map. I think that they pushed him hard. They thought he was going to be the next big thing, and he just wasn't. It just didn't really land, even though Avatar was as successful as it was. And with Avatar 2 and 3 already being shot and in post-production right now, and we'll see how those fare, if they're critically received or financially. I don't know. I never see Sam Worthington being some, megastar. I just don't see that happening. I don't know why. I don't know. He just doesn't feel it for some reason. And I think a lot of people seem to agree. John Jarratt is in this movie, and I had to Google what he was in this movie because I couldn't figure it out for like 30 minutes in. I was like, I don't understand. Is he going to be in this movie? And then I found out that he was like the freaking tourist with the mustache and the glasses and the hat, and I was like, that's him? I'm not even still convinced. I'm like, Google lied to me. There's no way. Unrecognizable. Holy shit. I couldn't even, it's so hot out here, guys. Holy fucking hell. I am like dying under this hat. But my hair is so horrendous under here, it ain't coming off. So, all right. So our main character here, he walks into this bar, and he kind of gets an idea of where he's at, is where he looks up on the bar wall, and there's like this mantle of all these Croc attacks, and there's a 12-year-old kid that's being pulled out of the stomach of this Croc, and it's just plastered up on the wall like, some trophy. And it's like, holy shit, man, where the hell am I at where that would be okay? And the bartender even mixes a fly into his drink because he says the reception where he's at is shitty. It's a pretty harsh penalty for saying that your cell phone connection is terrible. Like, I don't know why that's so offensive, but I guess he sees it as a knock, or he just sees him as a pretentious bigwig American bullshitter, and he just is like wants to bring him back down to earth. I don't know. We've got Mia Wasikowska here from Alice in Wonderland fame, and she is like 17 or 18 in this film. She is so young looking. Holy shit. When I saw her, I looked her up thinking she was going to be like 12 or 13, maybe even 14 at best, but no. Sam Worthington plays the asshole ex-boyfriend or whatever they were, and he ends up kind of trying to be hero and doesn't end up working out for him, but what he does is heroic as shit and daring. Holy crap, what this guy does, no way. You couldn't get me to do that. There's a really sad scene where I think it's John Jarrett's character. Yeah, he's like pouring ashes out into the water of his wife, and Mia's character sees him do it, and then she like grabs her mom and holds her closer, like, you know, losing a loved one reinforces that, like, I need to, you know, capitalize on the time I have with my mom here. I don't know. It's a really sweet moment and kind of sad, and in an otherwise really fun movie. And then so they see a flare, and none of them want to be inconvenienced, which is fairly typical. But if you see a freaking distress flare out there, you need to do the right thing and go after it. It depends, you know. And as she points out, it's like, would you want me to respond if it was you? And if the person will, of course, be like, yes, in their head, but out loud, they'll be like, well, you know, I just don't think, like, no one wants to be inconvenienced, I guess, but you got to go do what's right. And so Sam comes across after their boat has been rocked and knocked off, and they land on this very little island, which they realize is going to flood with water by nightfall. And there's this ridiculously massive croc that, of course, in movies with black water and with they try to say, like, oh, it's territorial, and it's like, this is well beyond territorial. And, you know, yes, they might be territorial, and yes, you know, they're gonna be hungry, but A, they ain't that hungry. They couldn't eat that many fucking people. And B, I just, after a while, I feel like the thing would go away, or I don't feel like it would stalk its prey like that. Not that many people. It's just, it's for a movie, and it's fine. It's just when I watch any killer animal movie, I'm just like, would this really be like this in real life? I don't think so at all, but that wouldn't really make for a fun film. So he swims across the water really quietly. Fuck that. And he could have just took off and lived. He could have just been fine. He could have been like, you know what, fuck you guys. Or threw the rope up, tied it, and been like, all right, set up here. I'm going to go try to find help. I got to go. And he probably would have lived, but he doesn't. He tries, and they send this girl across who, like, begs to be first. I need to go first. I need to get out of here. Gets halfway across the rope, and she freaks out. And that's just it. Like, that's where movies are difficult, because I don't feel like audiences want realism a lot of the times, because when characters have moments that make them seem annoying, the people are like, oh, I don't want to deal with this character. I don't want to deal with these things. And it's like, but that doesn't make it any less real. That doesn't make the situation any less real. Like this girl freaking out midway through the rope, and then the guy freaking out with his daughter and being like, no, we're going on the rope as well. Screw the weight. I don't care. We need to get her. We're going to push her. And they're freaking out. No, you can't get up on the rope with her. It's too much weight, this and that. And while those characters are very annoying, and you want to pull your hair out, and you're like, fuck this movie, fuck how stupid that is, this and that, it would happen. Like it or not. Like, that's where I always struggle with these kinds of scenes. It's like, is it believable that that would actually happen in that moment? Would people freak out and do terrible, stupid things and make bad decisions? 100% yes. And they do. So, I don't like when people make unrealistic decisions in movies. There's sequences where I'm like, no one would do that. Not for any reason would anyone do that. That's where I get frustrated. But when it's a character decision that's dumb, but believable, it's a believable stupidity, which when you're frantic, when you're scared, you're going to make dumb decisions. It happens all the time. I would love to put all these people to the test who claim otherwise, who are sitting in the theater like, oh, this person's dumb. This is what I do. I mean, this is what I do. I'm so fucking cool. I'm just, I know what I do in every stressful situation 100%, and I be the hero and I do the right thing. Bullshit. I'll fucking, I'll wait till you're not expecting it, and then I'll chase you down the street with a chainsaw, and we'll see how many fucking smart decisions you make. I bet you make a bunch of dumbass ones that if you saw yourself in a movie, you'd call yourself out for being an idiot and unbelievable, and you hate that character. It's just the truth of everything. So when I watch movies like this, I'm always reminded by people's arrogance with how they treat characters. And I try not to do that. I try to go, yeah, oh man, that's so stupid, but believable. And that's how I believe that scene to be with the rope. And it's that girl freezes midway through, 100%. Have you ever went to like a tall building or a high up area with somebody and they freaked out and they literally couldn't move no one step down or up, and you're like, there's nothing happening. That's in a situation where the building's not falling. There's no fucking crocodile chasing them. Like they're just stressed because they're afraid of heights, and there's nothing actually to be afraid of in that moment. It's not like the roof is blown off and you don't have anything to stand on and you're about to fall off the. That's different than your adrenaline's pumping and this and that. But with this situation, it's like there's a croc right there, and you could jump up and grab her, and she freezes. It's very believable. And when the guys jump on the thing, like fuck this, they're freaking out, panic. Panic is very believable because it does happen all the time. People get freaking run over. I mean, I remember when I was a kid when System of a Down put on a free show. People were trampled trying to get into the place. Killed. I don't remember if anyone died, but I know a lot of people have died in trampling events at concerts. I don't know if I'm mixing up the two, but I remember they got trampled. And I was like, we were gonna go that day, and we couldn't go, and we got message, and it was like, oh, I'm glad we didn't go. It's crazy shit, man. Anyway, I don't know why I'm off on this tangent, but it is what it is. All right, and then why are they yelling as they cross? That seems stupid, not unbelievable, just very dumb. Probably don't want to scream across the ropes as you're trying to cross them when you know that there's a killer croc circling. And then, so yeah, Sam's killed, and the dad is killed, and while he's being pulled into the water, that is the moment in The Raft, Creepshow 2, where, the chick's being pulled under, and you go to swim. You immediately, like, as fucked up as it is, it's terrible. You're not getting that guy. You're not saving that guy. And watching it isn't going to do you any good. So as soon as he's being pulled under and distracted, go. They even want to use the freaking dog as bait, as a distraction. It's like, oh, hell no. See, that's where another group of people would disagree 100%. I got so mad at that movie Zombievers because they did that. They threw the dog in the water as a distraction and went off, swam the other way as soon as they started getting attacked. I was so angry about that. But yeah, I love animals, and using them as a distraction because you feel like they're less than, no, unacceptable. So yeah, I mean, no, I'm not going to get too into that. But I was glad that Radha's character stood her ground on that, and no one really challenged her beyond that. But that dog gets fucking mutilated in this movie regardless. It was like a Jurassic Park goat in the T-Rex mouth where it's like, and the legs like hanging out. This thing, it's in its mouth, and he crunches it, and you can see the dog's head and its leg hanging out of the mouth, and he crunches it, and the dog like snaps. It's one of the most brutal animal deaths I've ever seen in a movie. I was like, oh man, this would not be for the people who cannot handle animal death. I can handle it, but I don't like it. That's usually how I am with anything. Like, there are things I don't like, but I can handle it. It's not like I'm sitting there being like, yes, I want to see that. It's like, oh, I wish I wouldn't have had to see that, but I'm not going to leave the theater or turn the movie off or anything. And then you have this moment where the guy talks to the mom and tries to empathize with her because of her loss, and we find out she can't swim. And he still does the heroic thing of swimming her across. This guy better have gotten a date. I think he deserved one. And I know her husband just died, so it's probably going to be a little while before she's able to do that. But this dude is a hero, and he does save her life because they both get away. And then, yeah, as soon as you hit that shore, run. Don't look back. Don't worry about nothing. But that's just it, man. Movies like this, movies like Blackwater, movies like, as soon as the Croc's dead, as soon as they get away, whatever, they act like, well, that's it. We're good. And it's like, you're still out in the swamp. There's snakes, there's freaking other gators, there's all sorts of shit out there. You probably wouldn't survive anyway. Even if you got away from this one threat, there's thousands of other threats just waiting around the corner for you. So they always make it seem like, oh, well, now he's dead. Or now we've ran away, so we're good. And it's like, I don't think so. And then Kate, Rhoda Mitchell's character, is taken under the water and disappears, and our main character here is not giving up, man. He's like, what the hell? And he runs off and he grabs the dog, and the dog takes off, and he finds his owner. And we have like a Jeepers Creepers dairy moment where he slips down the pipe shaft down into the lair of the beast, of the creeper, of the croc. And when he's down there, I love this whole sequence. This whole sequence is the best fucking part of the movie. That's why I'm saying, like, I just didn't. There were lulls in certain moments, and I didn't find it as thrilling in that middle area. Like, I didn't feel like there was enough death and chaos, even though there was some there. The ending of this movie, and even the opening of this movie with the setup, it's fine. It's good. It's good. And the middle is very good, and the ending is amazing. So, all in all, it's very good. It's not like perfect. It's not like beginning, middle, end is amazing, like Jaws or something, where it's just like every character moment, every scene is fantastic. So I guess that's why I'm not as big on this as I should say. But I would still rate it at like an 8.5 or higher, maybe even. I still think it's freaking fabulous. So yeah, he slips down into that hole, and Kevin is the dog's name, finds his owner and just gets munched. Oh, it's brutal. And you know, I felt like the dog saved her. Like, she saved the dog, and then the dog led our main guy here, whose name I fucking forgot to write down. Which is kind of funny since he's a journalist. That's ironic. But the dog leads him to her, and he ends up ultimately saving her life. Or, I mean, at least we think that she survived. She might have went up in that chopper at the end, and then, like, we lost her. Oops. We always think at the end of the credits, we're like, oh, well, she's still breathing when the credits roll, so that means she lives. And it's like, she could have died 5 seconds later. She could have went into shock. She could have, I mean, really. So we don't know if she lives for sure, but we are to assume by movie logic that as long as you have a breath in your body still when the credits roll, that character is alive forever until they make a sequel and kill them. Or divulge to us that they did in fact die, which has happened before. This dude guy, I don't know what the hell I was trying to say there, but he goes and he will not let this girl go. He is trying everything in his power, man. He must really think he has a chance with this chick. He must really think this girl's pretty hot. She's very attractive, and she's really fun in this movie, so I get it. But he is just not leaving her behind. He picks her up. He tries to walk her out of there slowly. He keeps turning around. The Croc's there. The Croc's there. The Croc's there. The Croc's not there. And so he gets in this moment where he has to throw her aside, and the Croc's coming at him, and he's got him pinned to a wall, and he's stabbing at him. And then the Croc grabs his fingers and rips them off. And he tries to stab him with this stick, and the Croc just comes and grabs and rips apart the stick. He keeps defending her, and then he props the thing up against the wall, and the Croc comes sideways and tries to snap on him, and it punctures through his head, and he's sitting on a rock, and the rock is not allowing the Croc's jaws to close over him, and you're like, did he chomp on him? Did he not? I don't know what's happening. And then you see the leg, and the leg moves, and he crawls out, and he takes the girl, and he saves the day. And it's a great ending. That whole fight sequence, the whole showdown in the lair, it may be a little unrealistic. I don't care. It's badass, and it's not like he gets out unscathed. This thing beats the shit out of him. This is a real fight. It's not like over in 2 seconds. Like this, it lasts a while. It's tense. Could you imagine being down there? Could you imagine being down there with that thing in that situation? Fuck that. terrifying. So yeah, all right. So there's my thoughts on Rogue. Let's move on to Blackwater before I pass out.